All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about something that's, at the absolute core of our confidence and our drive. We're talking about self-trust. It's that little voice inside that either says, yeah, you got this, or, well, something a lot less helpful. And for so many of us, that voice is more of a critic than a cheerleader, right?
I mean, come on, who hasn't done this? You get that massive burst of inspiration at night. You set your alarm for 5 a.m., you lay out your gym clothes, you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow is the day. This time, it's for real. And that intention, it feels amazing.
And then the alarm goes off, and all that powerful resolve you had just hours before, it just kind of vanishes. You hit snooze. Those gym clothes become a chair decoration. The project stays closed. And yeah, it feels like a tiny little failure in the moment, but trust me, it's so much bigger than that.
What we're really looking at here is a pattern. It's a series of these tiny little fractures in the relationship we have with ourselves. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now, this whole cycle of daily self-betrayal.
So let's get one thing straight. This has nothing to do with being lazy. It's not a failure of willpower. Every single time you break a promise to yourself, no matter how small it seems, you're actually committing what's called a micro-betrayal. You're literally teaching your own brain that your word doesn't actually mean anything.
And when you do this over and over, you create this thing called the integrity gap. You know that feeling, right? That sinking feeling when the person you want to be, the one who's disciplined, who's healthy, just doesn't match up with the person your actions showed you were today. And that gap, that's where self-doubt is born.
So you might be asking, why are we obsessing over these tiny little things? Because here's the secret. The small promises aren't just details. They're everything. They are the entire foundation of who you are.
This really just stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? It's not about the big, dramatic, life-changing moments. Nope. The fastest way to lose yourself is in the daily, almost invisible choices. Did you read for 5 minutes like you said you would? Did you just put the dish in the dishwasher instead of leaving it? These are the moments that define you.
And I love this analogy. Just think about your self-trust as a brick wall. Every single time you keep your word to yourself, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, boom, you lay a brick. It's solid. But every time you break it, I'll do it tomorrow, you're pulling a brick out. And if you keep pulling bricks out, what happens? The whole wall just crumbles.
Okay, so this brings us to one of the biggest traps that we all fall into. We wait. We wait for the right feeling. We're talking about the great big myth of motivation.
Seriously, think about it. Do you wait until you actually feel like going for a run? Or do you wait for some bolt of creative lightning to strike before you sit down to write? We treat motivation like it's this magical, unpredictable guest we have to wait for. But honestly, as a strategy, it's terrible.
And here's exactly why. Just look at the difference. Motivation, it's based on emotion, which makes it totally unpredictable. It gives you a temporary boost, that's it. But integrity, that's a deliberate choice. It's consistent, and its impact isn't just some fleeting high. It builds real, lasting self-respect. One is a roller coaster, and the other is a rock-solid foundation.
So, if we can't count on motivation, what do? Well, this is where it gets really good, because there's a simple, practical, and ridiculously powerful solution. It's called the 10-minute rule.
Just 10. That's it. This number, 10, is about to become your new best friend. Why? Because it's so small, it's almost impossible to argue with. It's not intimidating. It sneaks right past all those excuses we have about not having enough time or energy. It's the perfect key to laying that very first brick.
Now listen, because this is the most important part. The magic is not in the 10 minutes of work. The magic is in the act of honoring your word. Seriously, doing exactly 10 minutes of something just because you said you would does more for your self-trust than working for 3 hours just because you suddenly felt motivated.
So here's the whole game plan, step by step. First, state a tiny, specific promise. I will read for 10 minutes. Second, you do it. Set a timer, and when that timer goes off, you stop. This is key. It's not about finishing, it's about keeping the promise. And third, and you cannot skip this, you take just a second to acknowledge it, to say to yourself, hey, I did what I said I would do. That's you laying a brick on the wall.
So when you start doing this day after day, you're not just ticking things off a to-do list. You are actively rewiring your own brain. You are rebuilding your identity from the ground up, one tiny promise at a time. And this chart says it all, doesn't it? That huge, flashy burst of motivation, it has a surprisingly low impact on your long-term self-trust. But that small, humble, kept promise? Oh, its impact is massive. It's like the difference between a firework and the sun.
One is a spectacular, brief show. The other provides consistent light and warmth, day in and day out.
You know, the truth is, most of us have been looking for self-respect in all the wrong places. We think it's going to come from some huge achievement or from other people telling us we're great. But it doesn't. It's forged. It's built in those quiet, unglamorous, everyday moments where you choose to be the kind of person who keeps their word, especially when the only one watching is you.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one question. Not for tomorrow, not for next week, for today. What is the one tiny 10-minute promise you're going to make and keep for yourself? Because that simple act, that's where unbreakable self-trust begins.